Hi friends, it's Michelle coming to you today from Michigan. I'm called Quimby Cottage on Instagram and I am MK Hansen on Ravelry. Thanks for coming today. The weather here has been so weird. Literally 2 days ago, I bundled up, I had my warmest hat on and the wind was going right through it and I was very cold. And today it's 64 degrees and sunny. So I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, I thought I would get on today and talk to you a little bit about what I'm making. So first, I'll tell you, this is what I'm wearing. This is my Hayward sweater. You've seen me wear this before. I like it so much, I probably should knit another one. I know that the girls at Espace Tricot, I think Melissa has knit one in wool and one in linen and maybe in another fabric also. I definitely like this a lot. It's sort of a swancho, so I always have to wear a tank top or something under it because when I raise my arms, you can see it goes up quite high. But I sort of like this style, and I might have to knit another swancho as well. Maybe not this one, but the one I kind of have my eye on is the Veronika swancho. I think it's by Coco Knit. If you guys have knit that before and you have opinions about that, let me know. I thought I would start by giving an update on my Magnolia cardigan, my chunky Magnolia, which I loved. Last time we talked about the buttons, and they were just very fraught. If you remember, the buttons were agonizing. And this was the original button. I followed the pattern. It tells you to crochet and then put stuffing in the button. So I did that. They were much too big, and so in the end, I went and knitted this button, and then look at what they're like beside each other. So some people commented that since I'm not going to close the cardigan anyway, I could have just gone ahead and used these buttons, which is true. But to be honest with you, these buttons are also too big, and they won't close either. So you could see that would be laughable, probably a little bit comical, if I had actually used these buttons. So I didn't, but I saved them because I know they're going to be useful for something. And instead, I knitted these buttons, and then this is how that looks. I think it looks pretty cute, but you can see it's still, I mean, I don't know if you think it does, but it does look a little bit too big, and you can see that, like, if I work really hard, I can get that one buttoned. The rest of them I haven't fussed with at all. But it honestly, I wear this sweater a lot. I just toss it over. I love it. I like it so much. I think I might have to knit it in a lighter weight as well. At least this style, maybe not the same pattern with I mean, I love this, but we don't necessarily have to have that. I just mean I love the shape of this cardigan and the way that it fits. I will say this is the Cascade Eco Wool, and you can see it's pilling a little. Can you see it's pilling a little bit? See that? It's pilling a little bit. It's a super affordable yarn, so I'm okay with this, and I have worn this a lot already. It's the first thing that I pick up and just toss over when I'm just a little bit cool. It's much better than a sweatshirt for me because, well, for one, it's wool, so it's warmer. And it's not so heavy as a sweatshirt can be. And then also because these sleeves are just 3/4 sleeves, I just do whatever my normal routine is in them, and I don't feel bad about that at all. So I could glean this, and I will eventually, but I don't need to do it right now. I love it, though. I highly recommend this sweater. If you're shaped like I am, I think it's very flattering. And if you're the kind of person that wants to wear their sweaters all over the place, and I recommend the yarn. It's very affordable. I did like the project in the end. It's exactly what I was looking for. So that's sort of really the only finished project I have, but I have lots of stuff kind of in play. So let's talk about some of that. First, I'll tell you that I finished one sock of my scrappy socks. I'm just carrying 2 different yarns together, and I'm switching them every other row. And this is how far I am on the second sock. As you can see, I am starting the heel flap. This lives in a little bowl. Here are the yarns. So these are the 2 scrap yarns I'm carrying together. And then this is the heel and toe yarn. This just lives on my desk. So when I'm doing a call or something like that, I can just knit a little bit so I just am knitting a little bit at a time. There's no race for this. So I just started the heel flap. I will tell you, I don't know if any of you have tried these. These are the new Addi sock needles. well, actually, they're not just for socks. You could probably use them for sleeves too. They're 9 inches, and one needle is bigger than the other needle. So if you can see, this needle is like super teeny tiny, minuscule. And then this needle is also teeny tiny, but a little bigger. So it's about a third bigger, I would say. And it's supposed to be a little bit more comfortable than 2 teeny tiny needles like this. I did try the 2 teeny tiny needles and my hand cramped up. I have heard from people that you should just power through and you'll really figure it out, but I don't think that's for me. But I do like these. I still prefer either double pointed needles or 2 circulars, but this is fine. I'm doing this whole sock with this, and I did most of the other sock with it too. I'm trying to kind of get used to these because I think that they'll be helpful with colorwork socks, which I have been doing a lot more now that, I've been doing them a lot more. So I think that it will be useful, but I only bought them in this one size. So I only have the one pair. They're size 1.5, US size 1.5. And I think I like them. So if it's something that you think you might want to try, if you do colorwork, you might want to give it a shot. So there you go. I give them a thumbs up, but not like, they're definitely still a compromise over a full-size needle as far as comfort goes. But the compromise might be good for you because you can just motor through, and it's kind of nice to not have to switch needles up. And if you're used to doing like magic loop and you have to wrestle that cord, this is a lot easier than that. And the benefit of this is that if you're in the car and you drop one of your double pointed needles and it goes in that tiny little area between your seat and the console, not that that ever happens to me. Anyway, obviously that wouldn't happen with this if you had already turned your heel. So you still need the double points or some other needle to do your heel flap, if that's how you choose to do it. You could, of course, just do an afterthought heel and just motor right through the whole thing. So, but I still think you would definitely need 2 needles or double pointed needles to do the toes, because as you decrease, But anyway, I like these. So these are going along pretty well, and I'm pretty pleased with the way they look. It's fun to knit scrappy socks and have them just be a tiny bit more, just a little unusual. And I think that's kind of fun. Actually, let me make a confession to you. I was tossing all my needles looking for different things, and I had sets of size 2 needles and sets of size 1.5 needles. And I always knit my socks on 1.5. I don't know how this happened, but I started this sock on a size 2 needle, and I fixed it right here at these yellow lines. So I don't know if you can see that. I can see. It might be hard for you to see. But these stitches right below this yellow stitch, see how it's just slightly looser than the yellow row above it? Do you see that? So from here to here, I knit it in a size 2 needle. And then starting from here to here, it's 1.5. I don't think anybody will notice. I notice, I think, because that yellow line is so different to me, especially like in here. But once it's blocked, I don't know if anybody will notice, and it's not going to make a huge difference in fit. But I just thought it was, we all make mistakes, right? So I thought I would tell you about that. I have this in a little bowl, a yarn bowl that I just keep on my desk, and I'm about to make a big confession to you all. Bowls are my favorite way of organizing my knitting. I just put it in a bowl and haul it around. So everybody wants to show you their beautiful project bags, and I have beautiful project bags too. But to be honest with you, at home, I'm more likely to find a bowl. So there you go. What are you using? I'm sure that I know that not everybody is buying those beautiful bowl bags and doing things with them. I know everybody has their own way. So feel free to tell me how you organize your knitting. I bet we have a lot of super clever people out there who are knitting lots of things in lots of different ways. And it's fun to take other people's ideas and apply them to your own house and see if they work. So that's why I like to knit in community with you all. Another thing that I'm working on are these Morrison socks. Now, these are a Christmas present. These are a Christmas present for my oldest friend, and she's not actually older than I am. We've just been friends the longest. And these are a DK weight. This is called the Morrison sock. And this is Arbor, Brooklyn Tweed Arbor. And they're just quite lovely. Unblocked. This is unblocked. They go pretty quickly. I think she'll be able to wear them in boots. She lives in Iowa, so she'll definitely be able to wear them in boots, but maybe not like just, and she will wear them inside in her house too. And this is how far I am. I just have a few more repeats to go before I can do the toe. So I probably could finish these tonight when I sit down and do that. So I'll do that, and then I'll block them and I'll show them to you again. And I'll block this just a little bit more open so you can see that. But these are knit on a size 5 needle on DK weight yarn, so they go pretty quickly. I don't have a lot of DK weight in my stash, but I do have one ball. I had originally planned for it to be a hat, and I have a matching mohair to go with it. But I really like these socks. They're really nice, and I think they make kind of quick gifts if you're interested in doing that. Another quick gift if you want to do socks for somebody is, I noticed that Summerly Knits has a new sock design out called the Thicksgiving Socks, and I believe she's carrying 2 fingering weight socks together in that pattern. I haven't really looked at it, but I've seen it on Instagram. I follow her because her stuff is super cute, and she knits a lot of really cute socks. If you wanted something quick, you might try those, and I think 2 fingering weight together is like a worsted to Aran-ish kind of weight. So if you are thinking about that, you need some quick gifts and you really want it to be socks, that would be another great thing to do if that's your scene, and it's okay if it's not. Okay, another work in progress. I don't actually have any on the needle right this second, but those ladies at Knits and Pieces, the YouTube channel, Knits and Pieces, Noelle has been knitting these super cute little snowmen. And this is the first one I made, and it's really cute. Like, look how big that is. It looks like a little peanut. And this has a cashmere scarf, which I'll tell you about in a second. That actually, I did finish something I forgot. So I knit this for that. They're not quite done. I still have to embroider some eyes and then some arms. I don't know if this one's going to have arms. It might or might not, but it definitely needs eyes. So this I stuffed with just polyfill. So it's very tippy and definitely needs to hang. It doesn't want to do anything but hang. I have this one too. I have a whole bowl of them. Like, okay, remember I told you bowls are my secret. So this is the white yarn with the needles at the ready. And then here are my little guys in there. See them? There's several in there. Some of them need scarves. And then that brown is going to be what I use to embroider the eyes. So I have this bowl, and I decided to do a different kind of stuffing at the bottom of this. So not the whole bottom, just, I don't know what that is, maybe a ½ inch. The bottom ½ inch are these weighted pellets, and I put those in first, and then I filled it with polyfill, and that way they can stand up, so they'll line up. Remember I knit those cute little trees? I thought this could stand beside the tree, and they'll be kind of cute. But also, you could easily put a ribbon through the top, and it could hang as an ornament too. I liked the option of having some that will just sit on their own. So in order to do that, I bought these bag of bean bag fill. I don't remember where I got this. One of the hobby stores probably, or maybe Amazon, I'm not sure. I bought this when I was knitting gnomes, and I wanted them to have some weight to the bottom of them so that they would stand up on their own. They were a little bit bigger last year. Remember, I knit those gnomes. So I put this in the bottom of those. So I'm using a little bit of this. It's very tedious and fussy to knit those little ornaments, but you know I like tedious and fussy stuff. So some of these little guys need, like this one's just polyfill. It doesn't have anything in it. So this is definitely going to be a hanging ornament, but it just looks like a little peanut, like nothing. And it still needs a scarf. So I still have to knit those. I have timed myself, and even with the scarf, not with the embroidery of the eyes, but with the scarf, they take about 50 minutes for me to knit the whole thing and also the scarf, and then sew the ends. And I sewed the scarf so that it's attached to the little thing. Because I think it would be too bulky if you knit it long enough to actually tie it like a real scarf. So they're just folded over and then tacked right there. So these are 45 minutes, 50 minutes to knit, which I think is a reasonable thing for a little project. And they use scrap yarn. So remember the little trees? I made this one. This is of the leftover yarn from my Magnolia Chunky. I still have a bunch of these. I do have one on the needles. And I bought these little sequins to put on. I guess I should go this way. I bought these little sequins, and I think I might put them just on the tops of some of the trees. I don't know. I haven't opened it even yet. It's going to be a little bit fussy, but I wanted to show you also. Yes, in a bowl. In a bowl. This yarn doesn't actually go in that bowl, but these are all the greens that I'm knitting the trees into. And I see all the, can you see these corks right here? That's what I'm using for the bottom. So as you can see, I have plenty of material back there to work with. I need to get cracking. I did have one finished object. The same friend that is getting the Morrison socks requested specifically wrist warmers. I think she said arm warmers, but I'm going to pretend she said wrist warmers instead. And I knit these. This is a cashmere. It was for sale. I'm sorry, it was on sale at my yarn store. Everything there is for sale, but some things are on sale. So I bought this 100% cashmere. It's the, oh, I can't remember what cashmere it is, but I made a project page for it, I'm sure. That sounds like something I would do. And I knit these. And so if you're very judicious, the pattern comes for free if you buy the yarn at Spun Ann Arbor. And if you're very judicious, you can make 2 pairs of them. So I made 1 pair, counted the rows, and then made another exactly the same, and then weighed the actual cuffs, and then I weighed the yarn that was left over, and I did have enough to make 2 pair. So one will definitely be gifted to my friend, and that's why there's a little snowman with a cashmere scarf, because that will go with. And then the other pair will, I don't know, just in the gift box, I guess. But I thought that was kind of a nice little thing. They're super simple. They went really quickly. I definitely knit 1 pair in an evening, and I think I knit the second pair in another evening. Is that right? I can't remember if I knit 1 per day or if I knit 1 pair per day, but they went really quickly, and I was really glad to get fired up about this. And that, friends, is all the Christmas knitting that I plan to do. I have aspirations of knitting some of those snowmen and some Christmas trees as gifts for people. And when I do my calculations, I added, there's a lot of people that I would aspirationally like to make them for. Probably in real life, I feel like I'm almost losing steam on the Christmas trees. And I definitely need to do a few more of the little snowmen. I might be losing steam on those as well. We'll have to see. Last year I noticed that I don't tend to save those kinds of things for myself. And I decided this year that, well, actually last year in the Christmas season, I decided that our tree should have some of my handmade ornaments on it. I shouldn't knit them all and give them away. So I did put some handmade ornaments on our tree last year, and I'm looking forward to adding the new things to it. I did want to back up a little bit. The Christmas trees, I did go back and I put hot glue around the base of them, and then I glued the bottom. Can you see that? What I did was I just put a kind of a squirt of hot glue on the bottom of all of these corks, because this cork, so the top of this cork had the hole in it from the corkscrew. So it definitely wasn't going to sit that way. And to sit this way, it was kind of a little bit wobbly because this was a bit rounded. And so if it wanted to stand up on its own as an ornament, it was fine. But if you just want to stand it up and put it in a windowsill or something, it wasn't going to work. They were a little tippy. So you could put them, but then sometimes if you walked by or you breathed funny or you blinked, they would tip. So Sarita, my older daughter, had the idea of putting hot glue on the bottom of this, and then I very quickly stamped it onto, she said wax paper, which I don't have, but I did have parchment paper. So I just stuck it on parchment paper. Once the hot glue cooled, I peeled it off, and now they'd stand beautifully. Like, it might not in my hand, because you know what stands on my hand, but they do stand nicely on a level. They stand nicely on a level table or something like that. And this, a little bit of glue just kind of gives it a little bit of grip. So I recommend that if you need to try that. It was a great idea. So cheers to Sarita. As far as Christmas gift knitting goes, I'm done. I don't want to put a lot of pressure on myself. I do want to knit a few little ornaments as gifts. I will have to do some of that before it gets too close to December 1st. Let me show you another bowl. Look at all that goodness. And I have a start right here. Some of you know I'm a big fan of Remembrance's Pottery, or Natalie, and she does these beautiful colorwork socks. She also does nice pottery too, but she does beautiful colorwork socks, which is what pertains to us today at knitting, in our knitting talk. And she last year designed this wonderful sock pattern for Advent, which I loved knitting, and I'm absolutely going to do it again this year. Probably those same socks because I loved them. But she released the design for this year's Advent sock. And friends, I love it. It's like a little village. And if you look closely, it almost goes from like country to city. So like here's the country, and then look, there's just one little house. And then look, you move in a little bit more and there's like one house, but then more space, and then a few more houses. Like I imagine this is the suburbs here. And then this is like maybe in your outer neighborhood. And then these are storefronts. So I maybe didn't choose the right, actually, after I started looking at it, I realized I should have knit this to be red so that I think this brick would show up better. These are storefronts, and then look, there's little wreaths in the windows of the storefronts, and then see the apartments on top. So there's your little downtown, and then here's more your small city, like this is maybe your Cincinnati, and then look, here's maybe like your New York City skyline. Isn't that great? So she recommends, encourages embellishment, and I did because I can't help myself. So this is, to me, these are supposed to be, this could be like snow or stars. I beaded each of mine. I probably went a little bit overboard on that part. And then I beaded, look, I beaded the tree. I beaded the Christmas tree here. And then these are lights in the window, and I beaded them. And I beaded these lights. And then I beaded the wreath, the whole wreath all the way around. And then I beaded the trees here. And then these, I imagine, are stars. And so I beaded those. And then I was tempted to bead here too, but I didn't. So the way it's designed, you can knit each of these as one day, meaning that the cuff, the toe, and the heel are each one day. And it's pretty easy, I think, to keep on your Advent if you're going to do that. I really liked the other one that she did last year. It has like a lot more color in it, and there's a lot more scraps and stuff like that in it. And that was really fun for me. But it was harder to keep up because you had to knit the heel, the toe, and the cuff separate from that. So I actually had two going at one point so that I could knit the cuff, and then I went back and knit the heel. And so sometimes I knit one row and then also a heel, or I did the heel and then one row, etc. So that's how I was able to keep up last year. This is a little bit easier to keep up as far as that goes. The embellishments are really fun. I embellished all the way around, and I put my heel in a shorter place because I beaded it all the way around. There's no way I would ever wear this. So this is actually more of a stocking. Even though it's fingering weight, it definitely is going to be like a stocking. And I don't know, I'm definitely going to make a second one, as you saw. So she designed them so there would be a night and a day. So I feel like this is my day version with the light blue. And I just periodically put a bead in there so that it's not over beaded like I did last time, because I can learn from my mistakes. But the green that I chose, which was beautiful in this, I feel like it's maybe not quite contrasty enough in this. I'm not sure. I have to dig around. I think I have a more olivey green downstairs, and so I'm going to check and see if I do, in fact, and if I want to do that, or if I want to keep this sort of, bless you, so I might switch out this green. I'm not sure. I did knit some of the I did knit some of this and I didn't really like it, so I ripped it back. I need to investigate that a little bit more. See, can you see that? I just feel like there might be not contrasty enough. So, and I did have a brighter Kelly green, but I used it in my Stash Dive sweater, my Stash Dive raglan that I knit over the summer. And I knew there would be another Advent sock, so bad planning on my part. Anyway, I plan that this will hang and be a stocking. And I don't know if I will do 4 of them for my family or not. We do smaller stockings anyway, and I don't know if we need stockings or if they would be a gift, or if I would just, hang it like in the middle of a wreath inside my house. We have a French door in front of the office, and it would be fun to hang a wreath there, and then this could just be the center instead of a big bow. I could hang this off of it. I don't know. But isn't it fun and beautiful? And like, look, this one, I decided there needed to be snow, and so I did the Christmas tree all in white. I went back and duplicate stitched over top of it because I thought if the snow was on the top of the houses, it should also be on the trees. See that? Ooh, look on that one. The duplicate stitch didn't cover that pink fully, but that's okay. So I really enjoyed this. It's really fun, and I am working on the second one as well. And friends, well, actually, I have one more thing I want to tell you. So hold on. I do have one more thing to look forward to. I told you I really love knitting the Advent socks, and I really loved Advent knitting. And so 2 of my knitty friends sent me an Advent calendar inside here, and it's homemade from them. And it was, okay, can I just tell you, it arrived in the mail, and from Kelly and from Natalie. And Kelly is in the Knits and Pieces podcast now, and Natalie is Remembers His Pottery. And can I just tell you that when I opened it, I literally wept, like ugly cry. I was so overwhelmed. And I have met these friends when we went to Vogue Knitting Live last year, which was my very first knitting adventure, and it was really, really fun. I went with a group of girls from my Cincinnati knit group. I love them the best. And we met just as we were like in our last class, and then we skated out of town, and I met these girls just before I left, these ladies just before I left. And we've kept up on Ravelry and Instagram, and that's been really fun for me. And I was just overwhelmed. The kindness that people can offer you, especially when it's unexpected, can just be absolutely overwhelming. And I'm not ashamed to tell you, I ugly cried. It took me a long time to like hold myself together. I had to pull myself together. And I sent those girls pictures of myself in my worst, because I think it's okay for us all to be a little bit vulnerable. So anyway, I'm looking forward to knitting this up. I opened the top and saw that there was a card inside, and I opened the cards, but I did not peek because I'm not a peeker. And I've been keeping this box near my fireplace because that's where I knit. I literally sit on the floor in front of the fireplace with the fire on and knit. That's usually how I do it. I know, but that's how I usually do it. Or sometimes I sit on the floor in the basement. We have a family room, and there's carpet down there, and I'm often found sitting on the floor there. I know, we have chairs. We do have chairs here, but I'm more likely to be sitting on the floor. So I am looking forward to doing those things at the holidays. So let's talk about what we're grateful for and what we're looking forward to. So what I'm grateful for actually is that I am really mastering the sourdough. I really am. It took me a while. I was late to the sourdough game. I know the rest of you probably already started like at the beginning of COVID, but I need someone to hold my hand with that kind of stuff. So I found a friend who is already an expert, and she brought me some of her starter, and her name is Gloria. And she taught me how to feed her and taught me what to do. And so I did it, and I sort of failed. But I just want to tell you, I'm finally at a point where I think my sourdough is beautiful enough to give away. And the other day, I made 2 loaves and I gave one to my neighbor, and it felt really good to be able to do that. My plan is to give one to each neighbor on either side. But when I baked a loaf today, we got very excited about it. So it's going to have to wait until tomorrow. So tomorrow I'll bake 2 loaves, one for us if we're not too picky, and then one for the neighbor. And hopefully then I'll have to do it again for one more neighbor. So I don't know the neighbors very well, but it's important, I think, in this moment for me to be able to feel I can be generous with my cooking. That's one of the things I like to do. So I want to be able to do that. I feel very strongly that we're connected by our common love of eating, and the fact that we all need to do it, I think, is a great place for us to socialize and connect. So that's one thing that I'm really enjoying right now, is baking my sourdough and being able to give it away. And what I'm looking forward to is our Thanksgiving. It's going to be very small this year. We are going to have our oldest daughter and one friend, a summer friend, who lives far, far away from his family. So he's coming to be with us for a couple of days. And so it's just going to be the 4 of us, and it's going to be very nice. But one thing that we always do is I print out these little cards, and they say I am thankful for, and I've already printed them out because I like to fill those out. And at our house, we fill them out all day long. And we put them in a jar. And then actually that's a lie. We put them in a bowl. It's a bowl at my house. And at some point during dinner, we start reading them out loud, and then we try to guess who said what. And sometimes they're funny, and sometimes they are poignant, but they are always really fun. And sometimes they're predictable. Some people always are thankful for the same things, and sometimes they're not predictable. So it's a really fun thing that we like to do at our house, and I hope that you have some kind of fun tradition like that you're also looking forward to. I will tell you that one of the funny stories about that is one year my father-in-law pulled one out. He happened to be visiting for Thanksgiving, and he read it out loud, and he said, "I am thankful for Whiffy and Wee." And nobody knew who had said that. Nobody confessed. And so we all looked around the table at each other and said, was it you? Was it you? And no. And I was thinking, Whiffy and Wee, or Whiffy and Will, are those characters from like a Disney Channel show that I'm not familiar with? Like, I was really wondering. And then my older daughter went and looked at it, and it said Wi-Fi and the Wii, which was what she had written. But Grandpa had misread it as Whiffy and Will, which we thought was super funny. So anyway, I hope that you have something fun like that too. So be sure to tell me what you're looking forward to. And let's get ready for Advent knitting if that's something that you can do. It brought me a great deal of peace last year, and I'm hoping to do it again this year. Bye, friends.